welcome to Wednesday. It's Wellness Day at Caridad Gardens. We are in the courtyard of the Johnny Carson building at 6th and Carson. If any of you know where Donut Bar is, it's the alley behind, it's actually the corridor behind Donut Alley. DT Alley is where we reside with our Museum of Art from local artists, where I work and try to keep and maintain and upkeep the cleanliness of our alley so that local people and people from all over the world can come and view what we do here in Vegas. So it's a community center, to me, an outdoor community center that really kind of highlights the local artists, some of the local restaurants and bars, and then also adds a sense of community by using Caridad Gardens, which is a nonprofit organization which is humanizing homelessness, to help formerly homeless veterans have their first job, reintegrating them back into what we call a normal workforce. And so we have a couple veterans today that are rolling in, and we're coming off of our work day. So if you'll excuse us, we have Jacob here, who resides at Radcliffe, and then they're gonna have two of the porters that work for me, Melodie and Dee, so they can just come on in and have a seat. Melodie?
Have a chair.
No, you need to grab one of these. Just come sit down. Sit down. Just grab one of the seats.
Okay.
Come on in.
Good morning, everybody.
Come sit down.
Hey,
All right, so we're getting ready for our workout in the alley, which is why we're kind of rushing to get into our show. So I'll start with Damaryeon because he's beside me first. Damaryeon, sorry. I call him D, so I never call him by his real first name, right? So D, what I wanted you to do is just talk about how you got to Vegas and how you got connected with Caridad. Can you share a little of your story?
Man, that's on the spot. So before I lived in Vegas, I think I lived out here in my senior year of high school. I went to the military, and after the military, I moved to New Mexico. Should I be looking at you?
Thank you.
Okay. So after living in New Mexico for about a year, my wife, she came out there to stay with me, and she wasn't my wife at the time, but we were dating. So she kind of missed her family, and my family was kind of getting into a lot of trouble. So we just figured it would just be best to be close. So we both ended up moving back out here, and yeah. So we stayed with her parents for a little bit, and you know, things didn't really, we were kind of bumping heads with the in-laws and stuff like that. You know, we were already used to being, you know, free birds and stuff like that, and there were like a lot of rules. So we just clashed heads a lot. So ended up just trying to find our own place, and ended up finding U.S. Vets, and it didn't really work out like at first, but like it just something in the future, it just came out of nowhere. We just got a call saying that they needed like some workers, and yeah. So
Great.
yeah.
So what branch of military were you in?
In the Navy.
In the Navy. And how long were you in the Navy?
For about a year.
For about a year. Perfect. Okay, so U.S. Vets housed you,
No.
right? No. That's how you found us then,
Yes, ma'am.
through a work program?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. So U.S. Vets is something that we work with as far as our veterans to help us try to reintegrate them back into the workforce. So Caridad Gardens provides that job that they can take, lots of different jobs. Obviously, Dee works with me in the alley, and so give us some of your daily duties that you do in DT Alley.
So we start off, we all come, we all say hello to each other, you know, try to get like the day started. I know we kind of start off a little slow, but then we just all start cleaning, and as the day progresses, we just all like, the energy just like shoots through the roof, and then by the time we're done with the alley, man, it's already done. I know that was like the worst description ever.
What do you do specifically? What are some of your duties here?
So pretty much I sweep, I'll rinse down the alley if it needs to be. I paint, I plant, pretty much whatever needs to be done, I do it.
Nice. And so, what are some of the positive things that you've gotten from working for Caridad Gardens that you think that you might take into your future, into your maybe your home, into your work, maybe your next work experience? What are a couple of the things that you can share with us that you might have gotten as far as a tool in your belt?
Yeah, there's so many. How much time do we have?
Pick a couple, because we got some more guests.
Okay. So, patience and kindness are like some of the biggest ones. Like, I don't really know how to describe it, but like being here, being with my coworkers is like, sometimes I can be a knucklehead and sometimes I make a lot of mistakes, but they never really beat me on the head about it. They just picked me up, loved me, and kept on loving me, and it just made me want to be a better person. And it's a lot of internal things that has to do with the heart here that they helped us with. They met us where we were, and they never judged us, you know?
That's good. Well, it's interesting that you say that, because part of my training to work with Caridad Gardens is to meet everybody right where they are. So it doesn't matter whether it's my porter who works for me, a homeless guy we run into the alley, one of the police, a construction person that runs into my flower planters that gets me really upset. So we try to meet everyone at where they are for that day. So Jacob, I know you're not necessarily working the alley, you have worked before. You're mostly working out of Radcliffe because you have a flower bed, correct, outside of your home?
Right.
So can you kind of share how you got to Vegas, how you found out or got connected with Caridad?
Well, I got to Vegas. I was planning to move here eventually, just from friends. We talked about moving when I was in Florida, and she just my cousin just said, "Are you actually gonna move?" And I said, "Yeah." I don't know if I would have actually moved either, but I didn't ask that.
Nice.
But my friend had a place for me to stay. She said she had a job for me, so like everything's already for me. Why not? Why not go? Came out here, the job fell through, and I was homeless for a while. And then US Vets found me and picked me up. Stayed there for about a year and a half. Now I'm at Radcliffe, where I been there for about 2.5 years, maybe 3. And right now I take care of a planner, which is really good. I mean, you wake up in the morning, see something that you're working on, and it's actually doing pretty well. It just makes you feel good about yourself, that you're doing something good.
That's great. So Radcliffe is a US Vets, right? Kind of like a small apartment complex that provides housing for some of the veterans, correct?
Yes, it's basically part of US Vets, just you get your own room and your own kitchen and bathroom. US Vets is just basically a room.
And I've always kind of compared Radcliffe with like the show Friends. Like, you guys live together very close, so you get to know one another. We do a lot of our group meetings once a month where we sit in the courtyard, kind of like this, where you live. Now you guys are all doing kind of planners. Some of you are doing the same thing, some of you are doing different things. So you found any friendships through the organization of US Vets and Caridad?
Well, I've talked to I met Dee in the alley once. He's pretty cool. And consider us friends. Roommate wants to do this, and me and him are pretty cool. Bert and I be hanging out every now and then. That's about it, though.
Great. So instead of being on your own and necessarily disconnected, it gives you a little bit of connection, right?
Yeah,
As far as
I mean,
with others.
I live really close to all these guys. I mean, basically less than a block apart. So if I'm like feeling down or I just want to hang out with someone, it's really easy to just go knock at the door, see what's up.
Good. Well, we're glad to hear that. So on the end here we have Melodie. She's another one of my porters that works in DT Alley. She's actually been here longer than I, so she's definitely more of the veteran of the alley. Melodie, can you give us kind of a description of how you got here to Vegas, maybe how you got housed with US Vets, and how did your connection with Caridad come about?
Sure. I ended in Vegas due to the fact I had a birthday. And so I was invited down for just a visit and for my birthday and ended up staying. I've been here now since 2009. It was October 2009, yeah. So my fiance passed away unexpectedly, unfortunately, and so I ended up at U.S. Vets, and I do have my own room. And one day my case manager came up and asked me if I would be interested in doing some gardening. I said, sure. I like to stay busy best I can. And so I was introduced that afternoon to Meredith, and the rest is history. I've been here ever since, almost a year in June.
So Melodie, you have more of a significant role with our planters here in the alley, right?
Mhm.
So we know that you craft a little bit. So have you learned a little bit more about gardening, or have you just been giving us your expertise on the things that you already knew?
I think I must have played it off pretty good because I really wasn't a gardener. It's just common sense. But I grew up on 4.5 acres on the Sacramento River in Northern California, and so we had all these plants and fruit trees and huge gardens and such. So I was familiar with them, but I'm playing it by ear. I think I've planted somewhere around 250 sunflowers now this year.
Nice.
Just this year alone. Yeah.
Nice.
They don't all stay.
Right.
A lot of them like to go walking off.
Right.
But that's what they're there for, is folks.
Right.
So as long as the folks are enjoying them. I would like to get some more plants of different types going when the weather gets a little cooler, because it's going to be a scorcher this year. I'm really trying being a redhead.
Right.
But in the meantime, we just make them look beautiful, try to keep them together when the trucks hit them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of environmental factors in our alley
Right.
that we have to work with as far as trucks hitting them, which some of them are not purposeful, some of them I would question are purposeful. And then we also have just out of town, possibly locals that come through the alley at night when we're not here, where there's vandalism.
Right.
And so Melodie goes and gives our flower beds a lot of TLC, replant,
I can
yes,
talk to a
and
plant.
replants and talks to the plants, and so she's found a really good home as far as what her role is here in DT Alley. So
Yes, I have.
for Jacob, I don't know because I haven't worked with you specifically, but I know for Melodie and Dee, each one of them has their strengths and weaknesses, correct? And so has Caridad helped with finding some of those strengths that maybe you didn't even know? Like, I didn't realize that you didn't know how to garden. I just assumed that you knew how.
I didn't know I was going to actually admit it on the live Instagram. But no, I didn't know specifically. I am grateful that we have Heather with us now. I have lots of questions for her, and I'm looking forward to our outing when we go to the hands-on farm.
Right.
I want to learn how to prune a tree.
Right. So for me, this is a different role. I stepped into Caridad because I knew Meredith. I actually started as a volunteer and then became a board of director before COVID hit. I came back after COVID and stepped into a part-time role, being a supervisor down in DT Alley, which I see Jacob monthly, but I work with Dee and Melodie directly. And I know for me, a lot of the things that I've done in the past, really I'm using to help with you guys as far as my coaching for sports, on having good attitude, good work ethic. I know Dee specifically was talking the other day about having grace because he showed up late, but we all know that he's had a new child.
Right.
And so obviously we understand why I would be giving that
That's
grace,
a little-
right?
yeah.
Because when he shows up and his eyes are in shock and he looks like he's been up all night, we understand there's a different kind of stress, and so
Well, I get
we
it
need
too
that.
from our
Yeah.
arthritis
Yes.
because
Right.
I'm not as fast as I should
Right.
or could be.
And that's the thing too, for part of my background with health and wellness, is that I do understand pain management. So for you, I can tell walking up how that pain
I
is
say gave away, really good.
Right.
Oh, I thought I was doing so well.
Right. So are you okay with sharing some of your personal things as far as your pain
best I can,
management?
just to keep it simple. I have onset arthritis in my hips, and I have degenerative bone disease. I have scoliosis, and doctor tried to give me a walker, and I told him if I can't insure or put a license plate on it, I don't want it. Because if you don't keep it moving, you lose it. So
Right.
that's the attitude I do my very best every day to wake up with. And sometimes it takes me a little longer than it should, but my brain thinks my legs are going full stride, but they're going. So, but I make do. And I am learning to give myself more time because I realize that it takes me longer to get things done sometimes.
Right.
But I'm having a good day today.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and so the thing that I wanted to definitely talk about was just our sense of community too, as far as the vets. Do you feel that having an organization where you can come together and have monthly meetings, weekly meetings, or just an association with other people who are like you? Obviously, we all have different stories, but maybe others that have similar issues, similar backgrounds as far as being a veteran, you know, where you have those commonalities. Does that help as far as having a sense of community within Caridad, as far as having those people?
Caridad is something uniquely special to me, I tell you. It's all family. Everybody's family, especially the three of us, and of course you. But even though we don't see you about once a month, I did work with you when I first started. But it's all family, and we try to make sure that we look out for one another, and we praise each other, and we cuss each other, and we support each other, and we just get our jobs done, and enjoy doing it. At least I do.
Right.
Some days are better than others when we got cleaned up on aisle too, but
Now I know
we
In
manage.
meetings, it's good because when you're in the military, the person right next to you, and all around you,
Still-
that's your brother, that's your sister.
Right.
So when seeing everybody at least once a month kind of keeps the relationship alive instead of just seeing them once every
Check in once in a while. Yeah.
few months. I mean, but you get to see them every now and then. It's just a good thing to see them too. You know what's going on.
It's always nice to see them, especially with COVID.
Yeah, well, that's
Open
what I
to
was
that.
thinking about, is specifically probably in the last year, was that, you know, we've been going through COVID, and so we know with homelessness, with, you know, anyone who has a mental health crisis, that this has been very stressful, you know, because of the isolation that's almost been forced upon us. Now, we've luckily had a little bit of an umbrella as far as being able to still maintain some of our jobs, even if it was fewer days, but that's still keeping you connected with
The
the
outside world,
community,
right.
with each other. We have our monthly meetings where we check in with the guys from Radcliffe. Some of the guys at Radcliffe don't move as easily either. We have a person who's on a scooter,
Yeah.
so there are a few people
couple
who
wheelchairs.
who can't get out of those apartments as well. And so we end up having once a month meetings at that apartment, and so we celebrate birthdays. I know last time we were supposed to have Ricky on, but he didn't show up today, but we had a party for Ricky and I think Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
And brought
We tag
donuts,
teamed
so
them.
they,
It was really
we
good.
couldn't
It was
bring
good.
them here to have donuts, so instead we brought donuts to them
Yeah.
and sang them happy birthday and gave them a card. And I know Ricky couldn't stop hugging me because he couldn't believe somebody
So excited.
remembered his birthday.
And a card, an actual
Right,
card, yeah.
right.
Means a lot.
Right.
I did that for one of the ladies that used to visit us in the alley before she moved away, just before COVID.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
she said she hadn't had a card in probably 15 years.
right.
It's like, wow.
Right. And I think there's a lot of people, you know, that do have family, that do have connection with maybe a workplace or whatever, that happens regularly, and you forget that there are people out there that don't have those kind of connections.
She used to walk her dog. She'd come and get coffee at the donut hut, and she'd walk her dog through the alley every morning and just chit chat a little bit. And then she got to talking a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And she said what drew her to the alley was my sunflowers. That was her husband's favorite flower. So, and he'd been gone for that 15 years. So, if you're out there, Marlene, we're thinking of you.
So I wanted to highlight D2. D, what happened to you yesterday? What's the new news that you need to share with
Oh,
us?
yes.
So
How
I
did that go?
finally, man, I told y'all about this job like so long ago. Yesterday was my first day.
Yay!
Tell us what you're doing. What are you doing again?
So I'm just pretty much an ambassador. I'm the guy who asks you like the billion questions about COVID and like, are you feeling sick today? Have you been around anybody who's had COVID? And those questions.
Nice.
And where is that located? Where are you?
So right now we're at Mandalay Bay. Yes.
Tell them what that's leading up to eventually in your future.
Oh, so I'm trying to be a firefighter. So I mean, I guess it's a step towards it because it's for an ambulance company. So I guess it's a little bit of experience.
And as a burn survivor, I'm so proud of you.
Maybe it teaches you fire safety too.
That's
Maybe it
awesome.
teaches you fire safety too.
Say again?
Maybe it teaches you fire safety.
Maybe too.
Yeah, it did.
I think you're part, a little bit of fireman already.
A little bit. I'm just waiting for him to hire me. If anybody's watching out there, yo, hey.
Got that school to go.
Well, we just wanted to have a Wednesday where we actually highlighted some of the vets. We've been trying to build some characters on our show so that you get familiar with some certain people. So if you're local, come down and say hi. We're always here in DT Alley off of 6th and Carson. Most of us are in the Caridad shirts. We also hope that you would donate. There's always the donate buttons for the Radcliffe guys who don't get out into the alley as much. We're trying to provide some opportunities in the future for some outings. We've been connecting some of the vets. Bob was one of them with a new dog. Bob recently lost his dog, and so we found an organization with Positive Difference to reconnect him with a new dog. And that was an interesting process from start to finish because we went through a few dogs before we found the right dog. And then just, you know, if you have anything that you could donate as far as time or money, we would appreciate it. We aren't necessarily an outreach like we used to be with food and clothes, but those are things that we could still give to other organizations. So if you have anything to give, please do. We want to encourage everyone. We know that everybody's been, actually something I heard on the radio is that 50% more donations, not just with time, but with money to nonprofits. So that's how we exist. So we just want to thank you for showing up for our Wellness Wednesday. We want to thank Melodie, Jacob, and Dee, and you know me, I'm Jen. Thank you for coming to Wellness Wednesday. We hope you're feeling good, and if you can come into our alley, we'd love to see you and say hi, introduce yourself. You're always welcome.
Come say hi.
Hey.